to the Parrot Stars Podcast. My name is Alexis, and I'm here with Avery,
Hello.
and we are excited to launch into another episode on how to better understand our companion parrots. And this episode is all about parrot body language,
Yeah.
which is extremely important and something that has a lot of maybe misconceptions around and misunderstanding. So our goal today is to just offer some clarity and maybe have some thought-provoking prompts for you guys to maybe take a beat and really observe your bird's behavior and maybe give you some insight on how to understand it better.
That's true. So we'll definitely dive into that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yep. So just to recap some people on what we've been doing.
Yeah.
So guys, we're recording these episodes
I know.
at a weird timeline. So
Yeah.
we're talking about something that hasn't happened yet. But just to kind of...
Yeah. So it hasn't happened yet.
Yes.
But when you're listening to this, it will have probably happened a long time ago.
Exactly.
Plus, we're in a new place if you're watching.
Yeah, we should probably mention that. So
it's like
full transparency, because guys, we're just a small podcast. We're not trying to do miraculous things here, but we are doing this kind of on our own dime, more or less. So we were recording these at my house, but the sound was really challenging because I had dogs walking around and birds chirping in the background.
Bingo. I feel like everybody on the podcast knows Bingo by now, walking around. Just Willow and Lan.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked it. Plus, I liked waking up and then within an hour we were recording because I didn't even have to leave my house. But this is gonna be probably much better suited. We are in another quieter, less distracting room, so should be much better.
It's very quiet, yeah.
So anyway, so we're in a new location, and hopefully this will continue to be our new location. Although I think we need at least a parrot poster of some kind in the background.
That's true.
We're a little...
Yeah, I don't really know who picked the paint.
Well,
it's all right. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
These are the cards we've been dealt, guys. This is where we are.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can experience them with us. So thank you.
Yes. So we're in a new location, and
well, we're kind of picking up some momentum here. Thank you so much.
Yes.
It's been awesome, and we've been seeing the numbers kind of roll in.
Yes, lots of downloads. But I think what we've discovered, guys, is the thing that helps us the most are downloads.
Right.
So if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or even Buzzsprout, which is the host of where we upload our episodes.
Right.
If you guys can go ahead and just download the episode and share it for people. And then if you're recommending it to other people, encourage them to download it, because the downloads are going to be what helps us grow the most. And hopefully with some ability to monetize eventually. So if we do get some monetization, it equally will result in better produced and more frequent episodes.
Yeah.
So probably less to do with money going into our pockets, at least for the foreseeable future.
I mean, and that's not
what it's all
the goal
about.
is just to keep this educational.
We just want to
thing.
keep this going. Yes.
We want to be a good. There's so much. How do I want to say this? It always seems like there's a lot of negativity out there in the world of parrots that's been kind of festering for literally generations.
Yeah.
So we just want to have a place where we can actually advocate and do good and highlight what's great about this whole world of birds. So that of course happens with the support of our community.
Yeah, because this is a lot of work. I'm so surprised by how much work producing a podcast is.
I know, if you could see behind the cameras, I mean, it feels like it's like a movie.
A studio production, yes.
Like all these lights and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So anyway, sorry we're airing all of that to you all, but we're a community and we need help and support. So for right now, the best thing you could do for us is download the episodes.
Yes. Thank you so much.
But anyway, because Avery and I have to just literally record whenever we can possibly make time for it, which is sometimes a little unpredictable. We have to just kind of record as we can. So anyway, to circle back, we're talking
Yeah.
about things that in our time have not happened yet, but in the time that you're listening to this, they will have already happened.
Right.
So, big one, the fall migratory bird walk.
Yes.
Which is so exciting.
So
And this is
how do I
your
want to
specialty,
explain
so
it?
you talk about
Should
it.
I just say that it was an awesome experience and that we got a big turnout? And
Sure.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, so it's going to be a lot of fun, though.
Yeah.
So it's actually this week that we're recording. It's happening in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
And it's fall time, finally.
Yes.
And I hope it's here to stay.
Avery's favorite season
I know.
in the Midwest.
So right now it's about upper 50s and drizzling, and a lot of the trees are starting to turn. So it's peak.
Yep.
But by the time that we go on this bird walk here in a few days, hopefully it'll be gorgeous yellows and oranges and reds. So it'll be fun. We had our migratory bird day back in the spring in May, and that was I'm going to be honest, that was a lot better turnout than what I was expecting.
Was so fun. I loved that morning. It was beautiful.
It was chill.
Peaceful.
It was, everybody just had a good time.
Yes.
It's like we're not going out there to do serious work or, it's just out there to appreciate and have fun. And there's so much going on in the bird world right now. Like the birds themselves, they're so active.
Yep.
Plus this morning last night we had a giant storm. So it was really, they're all here. Yeah. So hopefully they're here to stay. So really looking forward to that.
So exciting. So maybe we could just take a quick moment to tell them about World Migratory Bird Day.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, of course.
This is obviously something that we're excited about because we're bringing our Parrot Stars community together. It's an enjoyable day for our team, our customers. For us, it's just an enjoyable day, but it is in connection with World Migratory Bird Day. So we're picking a specific date for a reason. So if you want to tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of species of songbirds migrate. Everybody has heard of the word migration. But it's a big undertaking. And so there's two main time frames in the year, spring being more concentrated, fall being a little bit more loose when species go back and forth, but where it's kind of concentrated. All these species
migration.
Of birds peak. All these species of birds are flying from north to south, and then in the spring from south to north. And it's just super active, and it's a cool spot where we're at. Chicago area, right on the Great Lakes. And the Great Lakes are one of the most famous stopover sites in the world. Actually, my home state, Ohio, is the McGee Marsh. It's the warbler capital of the world.
Wow.
Because all the warblers will stop and they will, before crossing the biggest lakes in the world, to go north. And I've always wanted to go. I've never gone. Anyways, I digress. I'm going on a tangent here about birds, believe it or not.
No, but I think it's very special. And I think the cool thing is because these are two dates in the spring and then the fall that are agreed upon in the greater birding community.
Yeah.
So obviously through internet and social media and just active birders, where there's a strong sense of community a lot of time, they've kind of picked these two specific dates. So we're choosing to do our bird walk on the official World Migratory Bird Day, where there's going to be probably thousands upon thousands of birders out that specific morning, kind of embracing the day, raising awareness about bird migration. So we're just kind of adding to that effort for people to kind of
it's like what they always say. Appreciation for birds is is the appreciation for the world, because birds are everywhere and they go everywhere.
Yeah.
And in the studies are really what defines it. The amount of work that's been done with these birds over the past century is phenomenal, because the bird banding has been crucial to understanding their behaviors, their patterns, their populations. So last week I saw the number over 400 million birds were migrating overnight. And that's about 50 million over the population of the United States, people wise.
Unbelievable.
So it's just, they don't care. They're just, they're trying to survive. They care, but but they don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It gives you a really deep connection to nature and kind of allows you to take yourself and your day-to-day out of it and just be in the moment and enjoy, which is like 99% of like the most enjoyable part of birding is just feeling that connection, seeing that thing that's greater than you. It's just you're a part of this bigger world, and it's
like there's no
really
homework
incredible.
needed. I mean, well, I guess we'll move on. We've been talking about it a long time.
Well, we could probably let's put it on our list of things to talk about for this podcast is birding.
But so a lot of fun.
Stay tuned then, because we'll hopefully continue to do this. So in the spring, we'll do another one in the spring. All right. And then just continuing our education classes. So the October class will be all about our breeding and hand feeding down in Florida, which is like a nice kind of piggyback follow-up to an episode earlier this season that if you guys haven't listened to, I do highly recommend our interview with Dr. April, our avian veterinarian at our breeding program in Florida. So it's just kind of connected. So we're kind of just helping people see a little bit about the bigger picture of Parrot Stars and learn a little bit more about us. And then lastly, I guess just we'll be either approaching or have just probably approaching Black Friday.
Maybe.
Depending where we post this episode. Anyway, we have a huge sale for Black Friday. If this episode comes out before that, that's a little like hint. Do some online shopping. And if it's after, then thank you for everybody
till next year.
Enjoyed Black Friday sales. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So to this stuff you are all here for. So parrot body language.
So parrot body language, people go back and forth about it. But it's like the discipline. It's the kind of just understanding what you have in your home. And the reason we're highlighting it is because we're not talking about things that have, believe it or not, similar I almost said morphologies. Dogs and cats, sorry. Physiologies. So dogs and cats are so different, but they're mammals. They have a baseline instinctual similarity that we share with. So it's a lot easier to, understand. But birds are a whole different level. And they're thinking about stuff that we can't comprehend all the time. And so that's the main reason why we want to highlight it, is because I will go so far to say that probably misinterpreting body language is one of the biggest reasons that people might experience negative behavior or feedback from their bird.
It's definitely the catalyst. And I think it would be beneficial for people for us to use the compare and contrast to the dog world. Just to kind of, because I think that's something that is a little bit more commonplace for people to understand. And even if they aren't cat and dog owners, I think there's just enough discussion and visuals between like what's shown in TV and movies where I think people can see it a little bit better and kind of understand where we're coming from. But I think you mentioned something that's really important to highlight and distinguish about the difference in body language and why someone who considers them a very successful pet owner with cats and dogs and have had a really great experience, but then might be struggling with their parrots. It's because they are so different. So one of the big things is dogs have the ability to move and change their facial features. And cats do too, but it's typically a little bit more expressive in dogs. You can see their eyebrows change. The way that they pant causes changes in their face. A giant one would be the wagging of the tail, which has all of this other like social cues and responses. And so when you just take a one instant glance at a dog, like you can see very, very instantly facial changes that would really impact how you would react to the dog. Cats as well, but specifically, I think the visual for people would be the dogs.
Our cat can get pretty grumpy. She can really furrow those eyebrows.
Trust me, I've got this little
I know.
crazy kitten at
You're
home, and I'm like, I can tell when she's looking at me like,
Yeah.
I'm going to lunch at you. But parrots, guys, we can't see their facial expressions. They have total inability to change their facial expressions other than what we'll talk about in a little bit, the pinning of the eyes.
Yeah.
But maybe other than like moving their entire body, they aren't changing their facial expressions.
Yeah.
So you're now left to look for very, very, very subtle changes. So I think when people kind of come to parrot ownership, working in the context of dog and cat ownership, it can be misleading. Like your success rate with cat and dog might not necessarily mean direct success with parrots.
Yeah. And not to jump the gun a little bit, because we'll talk about it later, but I think the biggest thing with actually understanding body language and learning it, because it's something you learn, is human discipline. And as in the intro, as I kind of mentioned, is the lack of, usually, unfortunately, because that's where they experience where the bird's uncomfortable. But as a human, we want to be satisfied with our companions. We want them to kind of behave the way we want them to.
Yeah.
So, like I said, not jump gun, because we'll talk about that. But that's kind of what I've noticed is people will be people. Humans will act the way that they do, and they want to get their hands. They want those love, and it's all with good heart. But the birds, being so different from dogs and cats and other mammals that we relate more closely to, is it doesn't really work out that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this podcast, we can continue to kind of mention things that have a lot to do with human psychology too. And that is not our area of expertise.
Right.
We're not trying to comment on too much of that, but I will talk from my own personal experience and just observations I've had working with various customers, and hearing their stories and their responses to parrots. I think it's very common for people to be very in their head. Like their perspective of the world around them is through their eyes. And we're putting things through a very like intense thought process, and we're analyzing all these different things. And what we'll encourage you guys to do first and foremost when you're thinking about parrot behavior is to pause, take a deep breath, and just be a silent observer first before you kind of react to your parrot's body language. Really take a couple of days after you've listened to this episode to just kind of sit back and watch and not feel like you have to overcorrect everything. So if we bring things to your attention in this episode that you're like, oh gosh, I thought that was a good thing, come to find out it's the bird's being stressed out, and feel like you have to fix that right away.
Yeah.
I think the best way to approach like how to put this information we're going to provide you into play is to hear us out, kind of think about the things we've mentioned, but then just kind of sit back in the room with the bird that you have and just kind of watch and see and kind of not let your human presence affect the bird too much, and just kind of see what is your parrot's baseline body language.
I think you'd be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. How does it operate just normally without your immediate physical presence to the cage? And I think that might help you guys see and visualize a little bit what we're going to talk about more.
Yeah.
And just kind of take yourself out of it. Don't overanalyze. Don't get
don't
into
overthink.
Don't overthink it, because we're just trying to like bring things to your attention today to help you guys be less reactive.
Yeah.
And just kind of see what's happening, assess it thoughtfully, and then make an educated decision on how you're going to try to modify the behavior if it's one that's less than ideal.
I mean, going off that, it's like, don't like taking it personal. So many people take it so personal if their bird does something that's like, whoa, why would you do that? Oh my God. It's not because your bird is, in many cases, not because they hate you or something silly like that, or they can't stand to be around you. It's because they're a parrot.
Yep.
It's because they're a bird. And we always have to remember, we probably say it every single episode, but these are prey animals. And it goes in with that instinctual, like cognitive function of how these birds actually work. And parrots being parrots and many other prey birds, they don't really like shut down. They're never, they don't call it in and say, yep, I'm all good. Nothing's gonna get me because somebody covered my cage or the lights are off or the owners are doing something else. They never really take a break. And so I'm going to have to understand that about parrots because they're always, no matter how comfortable you think they are, sure, they might be really comfortable and they might be having a good time, but it's always a flip of a switch that you have to be able, as a responsible parrot owner, be able to understand. I'm not saying you need to be over, like what we were just talking about. You don't need to overanalyze anything, but you just have to learn the ability to just give your bird space, because giving your bird space is going to build that relationship, but also their comfort and trust.
Yeah. And we talk about it being a very hands-off approach. So when you're interpreting your bird's body language and we're asking you to take that pause, because of what you just said, reminding people, which we've mentioned in earlier episodes and will continue to be a very underlying theme of everything we do and decisions we make with our parrots, is that they are prey animals. But most importantly, let's all remember that we're predatory animals. That's how we evolved to survive.
Right.
Yes, we have also developed big brains that have us problem solving, and we kind of forget in 2025 that the physicality of our bodies read as a predator to a prey animal. So why we recommend a hands-off approach is because our hands or our physical immediate presence to the parrot, which is a prey animal, might cause instinctual responses that are more or less out of our control. So when you, again, pause and remember those kind of checkpoint moments, like, okay, I'm the predator. I'm the one that should be eliciting the fear, not the other way around.
Yeah.
It gives you that ability to see a parrot for what it is. It is a very innocent, harmless prey animal that is 99% of the time acting out of instinct. Now, the cool thing about parrot ownership is because they are so intelligent, they can learn to overcome their initial instinct. They can start to outthink their response to a stimulus.
Yeah.
Or they just get desensitized to that stimulus enough that they aren't reactive to it anymore.
Right.
But we sometimes project our human experience onto a parrot and other animals as too. People do it with cats and dogs, but they're not seeing the world that we're seeing at all. We were just talking about it in the car. Like, they don't even see the same color spectrum we see. Like, they physically are not seeing things the same way we do. They're not thinking about them the same way we do. So just giving them like space and grace and just keeping our hands off and away to really be able to understand and see what the bird is doing and let the bird kind of dictate our next steps forward.
And it's conversations that we have quite often with customers when they do want a parrot companion. But maybe they haven't had that much experience, or the experience they've had has been, they watched somebody else's bird for like a week or whatever. These aren't hands-on animals. These aren't cuddly type of pets. Like you would get with a dog and sometimes a cat. And people go into this thinking they see all the videos of the scratchies and the stepping right up and
cuddles
doing the
and
kisses. And it's sitting here saying that, it's like, I feel like everybody's already heard us say that, but because we say it all the time, because it's really important, it's your responsibility as a bird owner or potential bird owner to understand that you can't expect any of those behaviors from any parrot. If you create an environment that's conducive, which I guess we'll talk about how to do that. Sure, if you can achieve that in a way that the bird is comfortable with, then great job, good for you. But if not, don't be disappointed or or upset or frustrated with the bird, more importantly, because they're not behaving in a way that you want them to. So
I think the visual of what you've mentioned about how they are kind of always watching their surroundings. The human home is like stimulus overload for parrots.
yeah,
We have noise and movements and objects and all of these things that are going on that might cause a parrot to be focusing on something having nothing to do with you. And I think that might also be why people might not be able to easily read body language, because they think the experience the parrot is having is this immediate one-on-one because they're standing right in front of it, they're offering it a treat, when in reality that parrot is not only processing what's happening between you and it is having to take in all of that extra stimulus around it.
right.
And so parrots have the ability to get overstimulated or hit a point of like max capacity, like response. Like they can't, it's so much that they're trying to process where they just kind of shut down.
Yeah.
And some parrots shut down in a very like inward way, and others shut down in a very outward way.
Yeah.
Which we'll go into, but just kind of continuing this thread of starting at their prey animals were predatory and helping people see that they're moving out of instinct, because it's not just about you and your experience with the bird. There's so many other things. And we just can't comprehend it because we haven't evolved to have that kind of intense response.
But not only that, but it's just the way humans are in the society now is we're just used to that. I mean, somebody from like 1301 would probably be acting like a parrot right now.
Yes.
You know, but it's like a real world example with Rue. Rue's out. I'm hanging out with Rue, you know, getting little head scratchies. Something I barely notice. Like a truck went by the other day, and I could just feel like her body just like jerked, and her eyes, you know, the eyes. That's another big one. Is not we're not talking about pinning or any of that obvious stuff. It's like just watch your bird's eyes.
Yes,
and that will give you, if you have any sort of like understanding of like body language in general, is the eyes are almost always the big indicator of how the animal is feeling.
Yeah. And I have another example because I think I operate out of the kind of probably the same way you do. We kind of have so much trust and expectation with these parrots that we are never operating out of this, like the bird could bite at any moment. Like we're just, we're very cautious and conscientious of what's going on. But just was yesterday, no, it would have been Sunday. I was working with Rascal in the visit room doing like the training, and I just had her step up to like walk out of the room, and because we were like cleaning and everything was moved around, the air purifier's like long extension cord was like blocking the door, and she like pulled back on my arm, like, and was like, you know how she like hangs off of you when she gets nervous, and I mean, I would have not, like, I was not even seeing it. I didn't even notice it on the ground, like nothing. And it was just like such an example of like, God, there's so much that she's having to be aware of that I just take for granted. And she's being so brave, I think, so much of the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like, gosh, I need to like do a little bit better job having those checkpoints of like, okay, like maybe not just immediately rush through the doorway, like slow down a little bit and really let her kind of guide how I'm doing things instead of me just like powerhousing through. Cause I just like had her step up and we were like going out that door is like our normal pace. And she got nervous and it's again, and I didn't see it at all.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a
It's like you feel like, oh no, I'm so sorry. But
yeah, I
it's,
know.
those are the types of things that you're, it's not like you're intentionally doing that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't mean to put the birds in these situations, but they are. And
Yeah.
so you have to be able to put yourself in your bird's shoes.
Yep.
And the big word that I use especially for like bird behavior, like foraging or activities or stuff, but it also
Mm-hmm.
applies to that type of situation that you mentioned, or just in general lifestyle, is routine.
Mm-hmm.
Is we as humans are routine animals,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's a routine. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even if you don't think you are, you give
You
the
are.
food at the same time, you do training at the same time, you do, go over and talk to the bird at the same time every day.
Mm-hmm.
Parrots are anti-routine.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, you might think they are because they get reinforcement
Yep.
during all that good stuff that you give them. And so like, heck yeah, I'm ready for my food, or I'm ready for the cuddlies,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not.
Yeah.
And so every little thing you can't take for granted, because
Yeah.
a parrot's going to try to defend themselves or survive
Yep.
if, a spoon falls in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
anyways, I guess those are kind of the generalizations
Yeah.
about just general how parrots are.
Yeah. Just
And it
setting
doesn't
you guys up to
matter
understand them a little bit
how
better.
old the bird is, or what species, or if it's like what we call body confident species. Like if you have a little kayik or a macaw, or you have a nervous, shy, instinctually ringneck or other Asiatic parrot, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really use that as an excuse.
Yeah. I think the goal for us without the visuals is to just describe describe
I know.
what people kind of misinterpret the most. I think that would be the most beneficial way of like going about this. So our goal in general, like Avery and I, but then Parrot Stars, and I think a lot of our community, like what we're trying to encourage people to do, and our primary underlying mission is to change the culture of negativity in parrot ownership and literally start to use words that are more accurate, but then also more positive.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, there is a tendency for people to label them like a behavior as bad or negative or something that has like a negative connotation with
Yeah.
it. And what we're going to try to do is like take what is commonly described as a negative, unwanted behavior
Right.
and try to reframe it a little bit for you guys and give you a little bit of context as to why you might be experiencing it so that you don't make it personal. You can feel like there's a solution to it.
Yeah.
And just remember that parrots, and I'm telling you this from my personal experience that is pretty extensive with a lot of different species of all different backgrounds. They are very, very, very intelligent animals, but they aren't like having a thought like, I'm going to wake up and be naughty today.
Yeah, they don't have.
And like, they're not trying to be bad.
I
And
know.
most importantly, they don't know that we're interpreting a behavior that they did as bad. Like,
Yeah.
our framing of their behaviors is us. It has nothing to do with how they're like doing things.
Yeah.
They're doing a behavior and they're either going to be motivated to do it again because they got reinforcement for it,
Yeah.
or they did not get reinforcement for it and they're therefore going to maybe modify their behavior to achieve a goal. That's basically how they operate. That's the same way we operate, but we think about it. We don't think we are, but they're going to do stuff to get something. Either
Right.
it's to reduce their stress, a food reward, companionship. There's a lot of things that might motivate a parrot to behave a certain way, but they are not doing behaviors that they kind of register
They
as
don't have like an
negative or bad.
agenda Like they're not, yeah.
Now they're smart. They can maybe manipulate things
Oh,
to
yeah.
try to they might do attention seeking behaviors. So let's start it that way, that we're going to describe what people might interpret as like negative or bad behaviors. But remember, that's our label of them. It doesn't represent that the bird is bad or
Oh,
is
yeah.
trying to be bad. So
Exactly.
we'll start with that.
Yeah. So the biggest one, kind of cues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think we go through this whole podcast and not really talk about real world examples would be pointless. Most common, in quotes, negative or sometimes even dangerous situations is the lunging or attempting to bite or even
Actual biting, yeah.
Actual bite. Dangerous, of course, because, parrot bites can do a lot of damage. And it's not because, I'll say it's never because they are seeking you out for their own, like, how do I want to describe it? Their personal gain of just not, or being mean, or something silly like that we put onto them, just like what you were talking about. A bite or an attempt to bite is usually always because, most obviously, you put that bird in a position where they have no other choice. Because, the flight option maybe is not an option because maybe they're in a confined location like their enclosure, someplace that is positive, but the situation you're putting them in might not be positive.
They feel cornered.
Exactly. Just whatever's happening. There's actually 4 reasons that we use what we usually tell people is why your bird would attempt to bite you or lunge.
Or lunge.
One is just being scared.
Yeah.
Very straightforward. Overstimulated or just being tired. Like what we mentioned earlier. Parrots are always on edge. They never stop thinking or being proactive about what is all going on. And so whether this is true or not, logically it would be that they are always to a point of a certain level of overstimulated.
Yeah, probably.
And we can't forget that. Even if your bird is you tucked away, all fluffy, sleeping, it's a pin drop. And they're sleek feather, crest if it's a cockatoo, cockatiel, straight up. They're ready to go, So that's what we're kind of talking about. So if you push them too much and you don't have the discipline, again, to just give your bird a break or be able to read how they're reacting to what you're trying to do, it's your fault.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. We also talk about boredom being one of the reasons. And it does feel a little nuanced. It feels a little gray.
Yeah, because boredom and attention seeking can kind of go hand in hand.
Exactly, yeah.
So boredom can be a stressor. And so all these 4 things that we talk about at Parrot Stars that Avery's talking about right now, they're labeled as like primary stressors.
Right.
So boredom can stress a bird out because they're highly intelligent, and imagine a 4 to 6-year-old child sitting there with nothing to do. They're going to like get stressed because they don't have an outlet.
Exactly.
But then attention seeking kind of goes hand in hand because like they're so smart that then if they are experiencing boredom, that will be what typically leads to an attention seeking behavior.
Yeah. And then there's usually a little reinforcement sprinkled in there. So that's why it may continue to happen. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't. And the last one is hunger. We talk about in a baby's context a lot at Parrot Stars because that's what we kind of work with more often than not. And babies, as you can imagine, need a lot of food. But that goes for all parrots. They don't have the same eating habits as we do, and they eat a lot more constantly throughout the day. They don't just sit down for their nice lunch, and can't wait till 8 o'clock for dinner.
Yeah.
They're always eating. And so something people forget about, even if they've had their bird for a long time, I think, is especially if there's like an open door, the bird's out and about, they think the bird's doing great. But the bird's just cannot wait to be able to get back and eat something. And that is, again, a big stressor. Your bird's not trying to get you because they're hungry and they're mad at you. that hunger causes the bird to be really like, what the heck is
On
happening?
edge, yeah.
I need to survive right now.
Mhm.
And I have no means of doing that. And
Yeah.
so people usually take that, I think, personally.
Mhm.
It might happen more often than not
Mhm.
because people don't really tie those two things together.
Yeah.
But anyways, I know we're not going to, for time's sake, we probably won't dive into every single one of them
Yeah.
we have listed at long, but that's usually the
So
attempt, the lunge, or even the real bite is what we get the phone calls about.
Mhm.
Because we don't want anybody to be in that position, especially the bird.
Yep.
We never want to put our bird to our ability
Mhm.
in a position where they feel the need to do that.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my gosh, it's time for our species spotlight.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Well, that's awkward because it's going to be put in the
It's
middle of
fine.
the episode. All right,
Okay,
anyways,
welcome to.
we thought we would kind of go back to a very recognizable species of the African gray parrot.
Maybe we can like rotate continents as we go,
Oh, that's true.
just to try to like make sure we're not. So we're in Africa today.
Today, the Congo African gray parrot is our spotlight. Probably one of the most recognizable parrots on the
Mhm.
planet, aside from like a macaw. Most people don't know the actual species of the macaws they see, but they see them everywhere. So, African grays being from the African continent, they are two main subspecies, the Congo African grays and the Timna African grays.
Mhm.
Timnas are usually found, I guess we could do a different spotlight, but they're usually found on the western central coast. Congo's more central in the
Mhm.
rainforest, the equatorial region. In the wild, to be honest, nobody really knows anything about them.
So
That
elusive.
seems to be the case for a lot of parrots. Everybody can recognize them in captivity, but still,
So
don't
hard to
really
research them
know.
in the
Yeah.
wild.
They are a very unique looking parrot. There's no other species that
Mhm.
like kind of even looks like an African gray.
Yep.
Of course, they're famous for their gray plumage and then the
Mhm.
bright red tail. They are one of the most intelligent species of parrot on the
Mhm.
planet. There has been so many studies on African grays, most famous being Alex under Dr. Irene Pepperberg. He like
Mhm.
outcompeted a 5-year-old on an IQ test. I mean, come on. And their vocabularies are like literally, I think, thousands,
Yeah, the capacity for it and
thousands of
the ability to
word
accurately mimic
mimic.
sounds is
But
unlike any other parrot.
yeah,
It's their class of their own as far as their ability to mimic precisely.
but they're really
Um,
awesome.
mhm.
So their scientific name is Psittacus erythacus.
Mhm.
I pronounce it probably weird. People might say Psittacus erythacus or some spell like casting a spell.
I say Psittacus.
You say Psittacus?
Yes.
I guess I overpronounce
Psittacus.
it, but I've always said Psittacus erythacus. Psittacus erythacus. There you go. We said it like 12 times right there.
But yeah, it's a great species. I know it's a common one out there, guys, but part of our species spotlight is to encourage you to like maybe take a quick moment to do a little research on
Yeah,
them
get
in
to
their
know these.
natural habitat, especially.
Yes.
This is going to be the thing that is going to really help us kind of raise greater awareness about African grays. They are very, very prevalent in the pet trade, not only here in the United States, but across the world. And for better or for worse, they sometimes are put in positions where they're expected to just be in a cage and talk. And it's important for us to think about them as individuals and remember that they are a species worthy of protection in the wild. So even though they are very captivating, they still deserve our utmost respect about where they come from in the wild and making sure that we are responsibly and ethically and legally breeding them in captivity. So,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's my little 2 cents about grays.
You're an
And
awesome bird.
they live 60 to 80 years. So for anyone out there that's like, the one person, the couple, not the one person, the many, many people that are like, I want an African gray. And then we're like, but why? And then they're like, because they talk.
They talk.
Well,
I don't know why else. But, sorry, I was just looking up. So
like their status.
the IUCN a red list.
Yeah.
So this is the conglomeration of all recorded species and basically how they're doing. Population-wise, they're the Congo African greys are listed as endangered.
Yep. Yeah.
In the wild right now. So they're struggling.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of trafficking of greys in the in the world. So
pet trade is a big issue with these very recognizable
legal and illegal, but primarily the driving force is the illegal wildlife trade. All right. Well,
awesome
check
species.
out the African gray.
Thanks
guys.
for this little interlude.
I bet you can learn a whole lot more about them than that they talk. There's a lot more to them.
As with most parrots.
Exactly.
All right.
All right.
Back to the regularly scheduled program. Okay, we talked about attempting to bite or the lunging or the biting, but what are the other things? Like, sure, you know what a lunge looks like. You know what an attempt to bite or an actual bite looks like and feels like. But how can you prevent that from or what can you read before that even gets to that point?
Exactly.
And so the next one we have is the biggest one that parrots will do and a lot of prey animals will do is simply move away from you. If your bird is moving away from you, I mean, you just gotta call it quits and gotta hang out. Because if you push your bird where they're moving away and you continue to get your hand in there or get your face up there for whatever reason for kissies, I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure. And you have to be able to, again, discipline. And it's not something, I'm not trying to preach like we're on a high horse here at Parrot Stars. I mean, we make these mistakes too.
Yeah.
It's a busy day where we're not really, our minds, it's all over the place, you know, and I always use Rue as an example, but same thing. I go on there, I want to give cuddlies to Rue, I get my hand up there and, well, maybe she's not feeling it.
Yeah.
And sometimes while I'm looking over here and I'm literally doing what you're not supposed to do, I have my hands in there and I'm looking somewhere else. And then she's never ever bitten me. But I could tell that I shouldn't have done that because she didn't step up. I look back and she's farther away. So I think that's one of the biggest ones.
Yep.
Especially if you're right there.
Yeah. And I think that's why too, it's so valuable to like pause before you approach the cage and read the body language. So for that, if we're like approaching the cage, if you're like, oh, well, I don't know if she's moving away from me or if she's just moving throughout the cage.
Right.
It would be kind of in step with how you're approaching the cage. So if you move one step closer and the bird moves one step further away, or you reach your hand up to the cage and it moves, or even just, it couldn't be subtle, guys. That's why we're doing this episode, because parrots' behavior is not always very dramatic and overt.
Right.
It might be as subtle as like the parrot gently like moving its shoulders and the tops of the wings back and kind of drawing its head back. But if it's moving away from you, that's it. You need to pause. Don't continue to pursue. When you push just that little bit more, that would be the moment the bird might have to go to the next form of self-defense.
Yeah.
So if we are picturing these initial quote unquote negative body language is as self-defense, which most of the time they are, almost always. If they're a form of self-defense, if you push and the bird is showing you that it wants to move away from you, and then you push a little bit closer, that might be the catalyst to where the bird decides, me moving away did not create more safety. So the way for me to create safety for myself is to physically lunge or push the danger backwards.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of a really, really good way for you guys to interpret behavior and prevent biting specifically is that if you physically approach and put your body in their area
Yeah.
and they're not willingly coming towards you in a very calm demeanor, that would be a great way for you guys to stop in the moment and not push. Because if they're pulled back, almost always the next thing is going to be the lunge to follow.
Exactly. I mean, and other physical
Mm-hmm.
parts or body language cues that we've seen birds do before if they're in a uncomfortable situation would be like, there's kind of debate about it, but it is in context, is the eye pinning
Mm-hmm.
that we talked about earlier. So parrots, not every parrot has the ability to. Well, I shouldn't say that. Every parrot has the ability to, but a lot of parrots don't.
Because they don't have the colored iris, yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah, that you see.
Mm-hmm.
But species that do, be like the Amazons, big time. Macaws will do it. I guess a lot of the South American species. Anyways, it's in context.
Mm-hmm.
So if a bird, and it's also the body as well.
Mm-hmm.
So based off kind of what I've experienced, seeing people like on videos or something approaching a bird, and that bird, you can tell they're not comfortable because they're kind of at full height. Okay, they're trying to get big.
Mm-hmm.
They have their side of their face to you.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking at you. It seems weird, but with their side eye.
Mm-hmm.
If they're looking at you with their side eye and they're big, and then they start pinning before you've even kind of started interacting with them, that is usually in the, in quotes, negative for the bird's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're feeling in a very uncomfortable
vulnerable situation. Yeah. Again, it's just form of self-defense.
Yeah, that's it.
And in the way that what we recommend you do and what we advise constantly at the store is to remind ourselves that these are still wild animals that evolved in a natural habitat. So a great way to kind of like fend off a predator if you're a small prey animal is to get big and to like look crazy.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes people think it's like funny or the bird is being charismatic.
Yeah.
And it could mean that sometimes, but most of the time, if you see a bird pinning their eyes, it means they're in a heightened state.
Yeah.
Good or
Right.
in a way that they're like playful, which is less common. But
Yeah.
more commonly, it's that they're in a very heightened state where they're ready for anything to happen.
Yeah.
And they could very instantly go to that intense self-defense mechanism mode, which again would be the lunge or the bite or taking off or flying away.
Yeah.
So again, if you see the eye pinning, I highly recommend regardless, you pause and
That's
just
true.
let it play out. See if the bird immediately goes back to neutral or does something cute and playful, or see if the bird looks like it's staying very heightened or doing things that are a little unusual for its behavior. Because it can be very indicative that something might happen or they might feel they need to go to the next step of self-defense.
And it can be subtle. Even the color of the eye, it might be hard to see. But usually there's more obvious indicators. You can just tell, honestly, feel the energy of the bird. I mean, you can tell.
Yeah.
Plus, Amazons are dramatic. They'll
like fan their tail.
And, it's all a part of that show just to get you out of there.
And,
space.
To be honest with you guys, this isn't meant to sound arrogant, but it kind of does. Like, I operate with a lot of confidence around parrots. Like, I really, truly am not like entering any interaction I'm having with a parrot with the expectation that things could go sideways. Like, I'm just there. And if things were to go sideways, I promise that I'm going to be like, it was me that screwed up. But even with that kind of level of consistently, every single day I'm with parrots, if I see a parrot eye pin, I still will pause and double check myself.
Right.
I check myself, not like accusing the bird or not kind of criticizing that the bird is getting overstimulated. I know that that is a moment that I need to slow my actions down, because if I just barrel through whatever I was going to do, if they're heightened like that, that's when, even if I am trying really hard to be gentle, I'm offering a treat, doing something totally innocent, there is an unpredictable variable there.
Yeah.
So even like we have the rescue parrot Edgar there right now, who is the most dramatic eye pinner I've ever met. She's an Amazon, so it's
she's a
already in this higher bracket of eye pinning. But my God, that bird, I mean, she is just talking and flaring the tail, and her eyes are pinning, and I'm offering that treat like so slow, because I've just experienced enough just borderline what that behavior can represent, that like it is instantly an indicator for me that I need to slow down. Even with Rascal, who is like my soulmate, and I feel like if she were to grab me, like things would be really like it would be extreme. But even with Rascal, like if she's pinning, I'm still operating with a little bit of caution.
Oh yeah.
Because she is still, there's stuff happening in her brain that I can't understand.
Right.
And I'm just going to be a little bit like, why are we pinning so much?
Yeah.
Unless she's sitting there and going, hi, Rascal. And she's just pinning like that.
And that's the thing. It's like the context. So like you said, more often than not, it's usually because parrots are trying to put that show on to show that you need to give them space.
Yep.
But like Rascal, she'll pin like after you give her a treat,
and
she'll go, you know. I mean, those are very positive. We're, as far as we can tell, she's very comfortable and she had a really good experience. So, I mean, take that as you will, but just have the discipline to just take it slow. I mean, we're very fast animals, you know, and they can be fast, but parrots usually they're pretty chill if they're in the position to do so.
Yeah.
And so that's that.
All right. So I think the next one, fluffing feathers and tail fanning, I think that goes very much hand in hand with eye pinning. So I think we'll just kind of
any particular order.
We'll just kind of like group those things together. So if you see all the feathers go up on the head, if you see the heightened crest of a cockatoo, again, don't immediately assume.
Yeah.
Don't make assumptions about parrots and what their feathers mean. Even because 9 times out of 10, it's something okay. I always recommend that if you see any change in their body language, pause.
Right.
We're going to help you understand what your next step would be, and we're helping you kind of help be more aware of it. But the first response to an elevated umbrella crest, a fanned out tail, even sometimes like the drawn back wings of a macaw, like those would be the moments that you pause and just wait and see what the next action is, to see if it goes neutral or if it stays heightened.
Right.
Shaking, I think, would be the next most important one out of these. So parrots, they have very fast metabolism, very fast heart rate, and a form of their body regulation is going to be the shaking. So they'll shake when they're cold, they'll shiver. That's normal. But if you are experiencing a very relaxed moment with a parrot, which hopefully should be what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, all the time.
We want them to be really relaxed whenever we're around them. If you see the heart rate and the vibrating chest, you should immediately decide or know in that moment that that bird is not relaxed.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or otherwise, whatever you are doing, you as the human, you're creating a heightened experience for the bird. So that is another indicator that you need to slow down, because they're elevated. Their heart, they won't have a vibrating, shaking chest if they're just like happy-go-lucky in that moment.
Yeah.
And it's if you guys aren't sure what that looks like, that again is going to be an indicator that you're not looking at the right things.
Right.
And that's where it's pretty immediate. And even in your small species, I mean, we can see it even in the budgies for grooming.
Yeah.
Like you can see the vibration of the chest, and often they will loosen up their feathers a little bit too when they start doing that. So if you see the chest feathers kind of raise up a little bit, and then you see the vibration in the chest, or even you can feel it when you're holding them.
Yeah.
Like if you're at a point where you're holding them, and like the example you gave, the truck went past, almost can guarantee that in that moment, the heart rate went up and she was vibrating too.
Yeah.
So basically my take on the shaking nervousness is always interpret that as nervousness.
Yeah.
It can sometimes be cold, but in my experience of working with parrots, if they're really relaxed, their heart rate isn't going shaky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. And sometimes it's subtle. I mean, in extreme cases, you have like an actual body
Mm-hmm.
shake where the wings are actually trembling. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it almost looks like somebody's blowing on like their stomach feathers.
Yeah.
It's like there's just that slight, and you just have to be able to kind of read that.
Yep.
So always take it slow. Next one, I put beat grinding on here because this one does go back and forth. The AAV actually says that beat grinding, it's always in context. Beat grinding sometimes can be where the bird is feeling more comfortable because they beat grind and then they'll preen or whatever. But it's that really, and only in some species. I mean, usually budgies aren't going to sit there and snap their beak like a usually larger species, especially cockatoos. I've noticed that maybe come in and are slightly nervous, or they will. It's like a click.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is always one of those. Again, just they're more likely uncomfortable. It's just one of their methods of showing or releasing that, if you will.
Yeah.
So you just have to pay attention to that. Umbrellas, large white cockatoos will fit every single category here. And they give so many obvious forms of showing that they're uncomfortable. But for some reason, it seems like umbrellas are in that category of parrot that people, I don't know, we just can't understand.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to put anybody at fault or feed into that negativity, because that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do. It's just people, I think there's been this concept, this stereotype, this sort of, I don't know the word for it, vibe around umbrellas or large white cockatoos over history, media, art, culture, that people just misinterpret these birds much more so than it's seemingly a lot of the other species.
Yes.
But they'll tell you.
Yeah. I think it's a good visualizer for people, but I think we'll apply it to all of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, for example, we get the rescue umbrellas in all the time at Parrot Stars. And so, like the one we have now, Hasbro, I mean, we literally have to put a rope barrier up because people see him bouncing, like literally hopping, bouncing.
Crest or umbrellas up.
Full umbrella up, and he is just bouncing around the cage like a trampoline.
Yeah.
And people walk up to him and
they're
they're like, they raise their hand. They're like, go. And they're like yelling at him. And he is like so heightened. And so we always have to coach people like that. He is not dancing with you. There is no music playing. We are not in a home setting. He does not know you. Yes, maybe in those specific situations, if you have a umbrella that is very well adjusted, I do think they like music. Like that's a common parrot thing. But they have that giant umbrella as a survival mechanism to ward off predators.
Yeah.
So that when you look into a crevice that a baby cockatoo is in, at a very, very young age, they have a very big feathered crest.
It's really cute.
So when you look at baby umbrella cockatoos, they look enormous.
Yeah.
And it prevents or decreases predation rates in the wild. This is why it's evolved. So you can basically assume, just like with and I mentioned it earlier, like the crest going up, that is a moment you should pause and you should do some self-reflection and really ask yourself, like, is this bird really relaxed right now?
Yeah.
Or is it totally overstimulated? And almost every time umbrellas are overstimulated. And I just told you this story when we were grooming a bird the other day, that I also came to this job with incorrect preconceived notions about parrots and generalities among them. And again, this is full transparency, guys. This has been a learning journey for me too. I didn't come out of the womb like knowing parrots. I used to talk pretty negatively about umbrella cockatoos because so many people were so like, oh, they're so fun and goofy and stuff. And I would get bit by umbrellas more than any other species. I had such an apprehension to ever work with them or touch them because I got bit by them all the time, like bad bites. And I told you this story when we went to our breeding program, and the guy that used to work there, we were getting ready to vet check all of these birds, and he just pulled this old adult umbrella that he knew nothing about out of a carrier, and it was just sitting on his lap, and he was just giving it head scratches. And I was like, I cannot believe you're doing that with a bird you don't know, like especially a cockatoo. And he was like, why? And I was like, because they're so unpredictable. It is impossible to read their body language. And like, I get bit by them all the time. And he literally looked at me. He's like, you don't understand cockatoos. He's like, you don't understand cockatoos.
Yeah.
And that like stuck with me because I was making it like about them, and it wasn't about them. It was about me. Like, I was not patient enough to sit and be observant of what those body language. And even when we started Parrot Stars, I'd tell people, if you're looking to get a cockatoo, like their body language is hard to understand. And now, like after all this time, I think they're the easiest to understand. They are telling you in the most overt, biggest way possible, they are not okay. And we just need to listen. And guess what? I like never get bit by cockatoos ever anymore because I have so much, like, I give them so much space. Like if they are even like the ounce heightened, I am not trying to touch them. And now guess what? I don't get bit by them anymore because I'm not forcing myself upon them. I'm not just trying to prove a point. I'm not forcing them to do something they don't want to do. And actually, I think they have given me the most grace. Like they give me so much warning that I'm like, well, now I wish every parrot had as easy to read body language when I used to think they were the hardest to read body language. Yeah. And it was just because I wasn't paying attention and I was unwilling to accept that I was wrong and that like, because I felt like I wasn't doing anything wrong. I just felt like I'm trying to do something nice. I'm trying to give you a head scratch. I'm trying to give you a treat. And that's not what they were wanting in that moment. And I wasn't listening. So, and I think cockatoos are really, really obvious in that way, but I think it applies to everybody.
It does go for every species.
Yeah.
And the way that I see it, I guess body language wise of understanding animals, I feel like I've been slightly privileged because I grew up on a farm. I've been working, I worked around so many different animals from sheep to horses to cows to chickens to you name it. And it taught me since before I could probably remember being able to read, but also taught me a respect for animals. And it's a thing, I think that really gets me down most of the time. Not trying to take this podcast into a darker turn. It gets me worked up sometimes because these birds aren't here for you.
Yeah.
And you see it so often in the store. People come in and they do act that way. And it's not because they're bad people. It's not because of anything like that. It's just people don't, and it's not from lack of respect. It's just people don't know. And we get in these mindsets where these birds are here for our benefit. These birds are here because, we want them to behave the way we want them to because that's just how it needs to be.
Yeah.
And these birds, no. I mean, if you want to invite a bird into your home, then you better make sure that you are doing everything you possibly can in your entire life to understand everything about this bird and just like enjoy the privilege
Yeah. I think
of having this, because that bird is not, I don't care how that, okay. Anyways.
I know. I get, okay. I think the way that I'm hearing that is if we're doing this ethically, like keeping these wild animals in captivity, we should not go into parrot ownership expecting the bird to service us. We should be servicing the bird.
Exactly.
Like,
it's your responsibility.
you should have zero expectations out of that animal. If you are giving that bird everything it needs, it by default should give you back what you're hoping for. But it's not going to just like instinctively know what you want or what you need. And I agree with you. That is the most challenging part about all of this. That's why we're doing this podcast, is because in a gentle, respectful way, we're trying to encourage people to
just take a step
look at
back.
what we should be offering the bird,
right,
and not make it the other way around.
Exactly.
They're not here to do anything for us. We should be doing everything for them.
Yeah.
Like, that's the fun of ownership. It's the same with cat and dog too.
Oh yeah.
Like,
all pets.
It's all pets, but I think that's the same. If I can make an assumption, I did not grow up on a farm and I don't know what it's like to work with livestock, but I just think that like people who grow up on a farm that have like that literal face-to-face contact with animals is that like
a lot.
you know that those animals are giving you a lot.
Yeah.
And if you don't do the right things for them, like you have that deep connection with them, like you're seeing what the result will be, and you're directly impacted by their quality of life and what your actions are towards them. And just like getting people to connect a little bit more to that element, that like the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it.
Exactly.
And I think just again, you have to be willing to like not make it about you.
I know. And that's obviously it's how humans are. It's just the way we all are. It's the world revolves around humans. And so maybe it's controversial, maybe it ruffles feathers, but my philosophy about having parrots, if similar to reptiles and fish, if we're going to take these technically wild animals and have them into our home as companions, and then we better make sure we do it right.
Yeah.
And it's our responsibility to do our absolute best in any given time of day or situation to make sure that these birds are as comfortable and healthy and happy as possible.
Totally.
Because, dogs and cats are good comparison. And obviously they need all that stuff as well, all the time. But they are not natural.
Yeah.
That sounds very unsentimental.
We have literally made them to the point of animal that services us again.
Yeah.
Like we literally call them service animals. And
Mother Nature would have wiped the floor with the Chihuahua.
That's true. We are all in agreement because now we all three have cats.
Well,
you can't
that's true.
Cats really are not servicing us. We are servicing them, but
they could probably still survive out there too.
But I think that's a good point. Like cats will freaking advocate for themselves. Like when they're done, forget it. They are done.
Yeah.
And I think the struggle that we're trying to convey to you guys is that this body language in Paris is subtle. They are not as typically like dramatic as a cat hissing or clawing at you or scrambling to get out of your arms.
Well, even if they do, there's that disconnect of an entirely different group of animals that we can't understand besides what's physically in front of us about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like a cat hisses you, a bird will hiss at you, and people will take those two different ways.
Yeah, we just know we should back off. And then like for some reason with parrot owners, sometimes they just push.
It's like a little cockatiel hiss at you, and people are like, oh, that's adorable. I love that.
Or they're like, hey, knock that off. Why are you doing that? And you're like...
Or reprimand them for trying to defend themselves.
Yeah. And good luck doing that to a cat. Cat's going to be like, see ya.
Yeah, knock it off.
But I think that's the really important I think, the next step of this conversation. So
Yes.
we really need you guys to focus on the obvious things. Okay. If we're at the point where you're seeing these obvious things, go back, listen to more of those earlier episodes where we've talked about the positive reinforcement training. But there is another form of body language that we need to highlight, which is birds kind of shutting down and turning inward too. So parrots might get really big. Cockatoos tend to go really, really big, and a very obvious, like, I am not okay. I'm putting every alarm on to let you know I am not okay. I'm feeling stress.
Yeah.
Like with my 2 Pionis at home, I think what you have to be cautious of with parrot ownership is people mislabel their behaviors and their body language. I get nervous as a bird owner that, like, I'm not doing enough for them because they put all of their stress inward. They kind of like literally shut down like this. Like they look sleepy, and like Lucky, the little Myers at the store, kind of does the same thing. I know it stresses me when I feel like I know she's bored, like, because she's not going to go look for trouble, and she's not going to self-soothe in that way. The way that she's going to self-soothe is to just kind of shut down. And same thing with my Poinos. When their foraging rewards are empty or foraging toys are empty and they have nothing to do, and I'm over here doing a million other things, they're just sitting like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, just because we look content doesn't mean we are. So that is an important thing that I encourage you guys to think about too, that there is a high likelihood that we aren't giving them enough enrichment, and there is a form of depression that can look like the bird is just hanging out.
Yeah.
And I think if we're really expecting or wanting our birds to thrive, there should be very minimal time where they're just kind of hunkered down during the day. They sleep at night. They will nap. They have fast metabolisms. They play hard. They sleep hard. Napping is one thing. But when you have a parrot that you think has really good behavior, and because you've built a ton of trust with them, and because every time you ask them to step up, they choose to step up, you might have a lot of like wonderful trust built with your parrot. But even for those parrot owners that are listening to this episode, like, me and my bird are like buddies and we do everything, I still encourage you to stop and look at body language. Like, still ask yourself, like, is this bird playing? Is it problem solving? Is it keeping its feathers in good condition? Is it motivated to preen in a good habitual way? Are there nervous tics happening?
Yeah.
And they might be subtle. And that is another really tricky part about all of this, is that you might not be having these really overt negative behaviors, but you might still have behaviors that need,
like, big picture that we forget about,
that we need to be very cognizant and observant of, because there's those, I think, are the things that we miss.
And those are those foundational behaviors that are not healthy for the bird, but will lead to everything we just listed. And then we isolate those moments, where the bird is maybe lunging, or the bird is shaking or getting big, and we're like, oh, right now we'll just give them a break and they'll get over it. But like what you're saying, and I guess it is a really big picture that you have to make sure that you're staying on top of. And all of our other episodes, like the foraging and the reinforcement, and especially the foraging.
Yeah,
I
foraging
think
is
foraging is one of the most important things you could possibly provide for your bird in captivity.
Yeah.
That's my personal belief. But anyways.
Yeah. All right. So I think what we should do to kind of sum it up, guys, as far as what you should do, just do positive reinforcement training. Always.
Yeah.
This is what you should do.
That's true.
So I think, to kind of wrap it up, to leave on a positive note, I think we've got some really nice ones here.
Oh.
So indicators that your parrot is projecting positive body language. Again, like you said, you can feel the energy. Pause and like take a deep breath. Humans are very, very capable of reading other animal body languages, reading the room. We have a lot of heightened senses, more than we think we do.
Yeah.
And it should feel relaxed. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, guys, like, unless you like come to Parrot Stars and I like show you, but you would know it. You shouldn't be heightened. You
Right.
should be just able to operate out of calm, kindness, and ease with your parrot. And if you aren't able to do that, that is when you do the positive reinforcement training. But first, you should feel it. But like calmly talking, I mean, often they won't talk to any kind of really extreme degree unless they're pretty low stress.
Yeah.
So talking or singing or just like looking charismatic, but not in a very big way.
Yeah. They're just like in the moment, sort of like
Yes.
with you almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're trying to make a show.
Yeah.
It's like literally a conversation.
Yep. And then I think just the opposite of everything we just talked about. Like if a parrot is ready to engage with you, it will choose to come toward you.
Yeah.
That is the easiest way to ever avoid getting bit is like if the bird is not choosing to come toward you in a calm, methodical, like planned way, just don't touch it.
Yeah.
Just keep your hands to yourself.
As easy as
It's
that.
very black and white. If they want to do it, it will look like they want to do it. So if they don't want to do it, that is when you go back to your toolbox of positive reinforcement training so you can provide them with a reason to do it.
Yeah.
They don't have an innate need to have their socialization come from us. They need socialization, but we have to show them what the advantage is of the socialization with us. And the great way to do that initially is through the positive reinforcement training. Over time, it will become the companionship element.
Mm-hmm.
It will be that we are giving back to them what they are giving us, but it's not instinctual for them to just like understand innately that this big scary predator is the one that's going to give me my social needs.
Yeah, they
or
don't
fulfill my social needs.
They don't understand that.
Now, to me, a good sign that a parrot is relaxed is if it's preening. So preening feathers, and again, it's subtlety. There is nervous preening that happens. There's feather picking. There's like obsession.
Yeah.
This is like what you would know because you'd feel it. Relaxed preening. They're like da-da-da-da-da. They're like extending their wing out. They're chewing on their little shoulders. They're fanning their tail. By preening, a parrot has to really, really, really lower its safety mechanisms for survival.
Yeah, because they're not
able to see everything that's going on around them.
Their head is buried. Yeah.
Exactly. So it is typically safe to assume that a parrot is relatively relaxed if it's just chilling and preening around you. That would be a sign that they're pretty relaxed. Same thing with eating. Okay. Parrots, if they feel threatened, it is fight or flight or freeze. Like they're going to immediately stop their metabolism. Food now drops to the bottom of the totem pole as far as survival.
Yeah.
So if they're going to eat, that means they have to feel safe. Now, they are all flock animals. Every parrot is in some capacity of flock. It might be a small flock of just one other individual. Could be as much as 100 individuals.
Mm-hmm.
But they are relying on the group to protect them when they're eating and feeling vulnerable. For people that have only the one bird, because they are so flock-based, just keep in mind, like if now they're relying on you to be a part of their flock and the one that's causing or going to be the trustworthy one to alert them of danger if there is danger. If they're eating, that's a sign of vulnerability.
Right.
Okay. So keep that in mind for the not so good side too. Okay. Yeah. So if you try to approach your bird when it's eating, it's going to feel threatened because
that's when they most get spooked.
They're feeling very vulnerable in that moment. But it would be a sign that there is vulnerability there. So in a positive way, if you have that kind of level of mutual trust where, say, like what my like way of thinking about it is like, for example, my Pioneers, like we have this routine where like I put their fresh dishes up on the tops of their cage and they're like just happy-go-lucky eating it. And I like that we've created an environment where I can like move around them and they'll still keep eating.
Yeah.
Like I can then go change their water. I can do whatever I need to do. And Jax and Lucky are both like, "Da, da, 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 da," like making their little cooing sounds in their food. So I feel that like they're not in a heightened state when they're eating.
Right.
Like that's not the times that I get nervous that they're afraid. And then obviously, like I think Rue is like probably the best example because she literally physically uses her foot as a hand to ask for head scratches.
Yeah. Rue is an
Like-
example of a lot of things.
But like not every single bird literally takes their foot and
Yeah,
like
she will-
scratches their head
will-
as sign
if
language.
you're watching, this is exactly what she does.
Yes.
And
She
it's
is
like an
telling
obvious.
you to scratch my
But
head.
Still, you have to be careful.
Yes,
because
sometimes she'll
sometimes she's smart enough. I won't go down that rabbit
Yeah.
hole because that's
Well,
not what we're trying to
but
convey here.
when they want head scratches, it
Yeah.
will be obvious.
Yeah, she
They
puts
will
her head down. She'll
Yes.
fluff. Putting their head down means they're not looking at you anymore.
Yes.
And so there's that level.
Yes.
Verbalize though.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah.
I always talk to the bird if they do that because it sounds very trivial, but if you're silent and then you put your hand on there, then even though they put their head down, they're like, "Oh my God, what the heck just happened?"
Yep.
So it's always good to always be vocalizing
Yeah,
with your bird at
literally.
any given time because they're one of the most vocal animals on the planet,
Yeah.
aside from us.
They use language. We literally say like, Root can't give you a head scratch, even Rascal. Like
Yeah.
still, I'm like, and that's what we're doing in our positive reinforcement training now because I'm trying to redo the harness, everybody, because we've screwed it up. But now I'm trying to desensitize her to the touch all over again. I feel like I'm starting from scratch. But I literally, in the positive reinforcement training sessions, go, "Can I touch your head?" And then I'm like, head, head, head. The whole time I am making it so blunt and clear to her what my intention is.
She
I
gotta
am
start
telling
saying
her
that.
the whole way. That way, if she pulls back even the slightest, I am in a position where like, all right, we're communicating. When you're going to tell me you're not okay, it's fine. I'm going to pause. But this is exactly what my intentions are. It's constant desensitization to those things.
Mhm.
So I think just to kind of wrap it up for today.
Yeah.
Um,
Positive reinforcement training is usually, I wrote it first on this, but it comes up in
Yeah.
every episode and in multiple conversations in every episode because it is the number one tool people think of training as like a work
job
that
to
makes,
do, yeah.
like a job that like gets your bird just to do stuff,
mhm,
but training is not about those physical
mhm.
achievements of the step up or the recall or literally just getting a treat or talking to you or whatever. It's that trust building
Mhm.
because when you're training, you're one-on-one, you're focused, you're intentionally having quality time.
Mhm.
The bird feels that reward too,
Yeah.
just because you're training for many
A
times
goal,
you're a
yeah.
goal of your benefit. Training is still for the safety of your bird. You do need to handle your bird.
Yeah.
We're not. It seems like a lot of the themes we give is just quality over quantity, and that's what we do believe in. But also more of like a hands off,
Mhm.
and yes, that needs to happen. But you do need to handle your bird. That's a
Yeah.
part of the socialization process. So positive reinforcement training, regardless of what behavior you experience at home, is essential consistently. If your bird's checking all the boxes for all the, in quotes, positive behaviors and you've never experienced one of the more undesirable behaviors, that's not like your ticket to get out of it
Yeah.
or slack off on it. But anyways,
Yeah.
so
So I think the best way I can summarize this for you guys is if you have any undesirable behaviors, the key to how you prevent them from happening is to observe the body language first. That is going to be every indication of what your next step is going to be. So if it were me and I was in that kind of situation, and I still do this all the time, not necessarily as formally, but I'll recommend a formal way of doing it. If it were me, I would be in my house and a couple of times a day before I start a positive reinforcement training session, like grab a journal if necessary and force yourself to go through the repetition of pausing and observing. Or build into your training session a moment to pause and observe the bird's body language.
Yeah.
The more you force yourself and remind yourself to consider the bird's body language and to just physically take a step back and wait and watch, the more you're going to do it naturally and the more awareness you're going to have. So it becomes a practice. And because we are so routine, the more we practice it, the easier it's going to become. You don't have to think about it. You're just going to naturally become a very good observer of your bird's body language.
Awareness. Yeah.
And start to think about your parrot's body language and behaviors in the result of a deeper issue or problem. Start to think of it not in trying to correct the result of a problem. Because as we mentioned, the lunging, the biting, the moving away from you, the stressful behaviors, those are the result of a stressor. So we need to start thinking about how can we lessen the stressors? How do we get to the root of the problem to make it so the bird is less likely to have to revert back to a coping mechanism or of self-defense or a very dramatic, a very dramatic way of getting us to back off. So think of it as problem prevention instead of problem resolution. Don't focus on the results. Figure out what is the core reason that the bird is behaving in this way? Why am I seeing this body language? What can I do differently as the human that has having deep, considerable thoughts about what's happening to this animal? What can I do different, or what can I change so that the bird isn't forced to communicate in these ways?
Exactly. And it's a full circle to bring it back from the beginning. It's just discipline and the respect of the bird. And it has that harsh, you need to respect your bird, but it's not like everybody, hopefully everybody respects their bird.
Yeah.
But in a way that you're taking a step back and just observing to what's going on around, like you mentioned, understanding the stressors that cause these behaviors. To an extent, there are some things you can't control, like the truck driving by. Okay, whatever. That's something that we'll get over it. It wasn't your fault. That's that. But in a real world examples that we have conversations with when people are looking to get a bird is it a chaotic household?
Yeah.
What are your plans? Are you going to have a lifestyle change or something that may be out of your control? And again, it goes back to what I was saying. It's your responsibility to, if you're going to take this bird in, that you reduce as many of those potential stressors as you possibly can, because it's your duty upon this animal to make sure that you're putting them in an environment where they don't feel the need to be on edge, uncomfortable, need to defend themselves, constantly on watch. And if you feel that you won't be able to provide that, then perhaps a bird's not for you.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you said it. No, that was very good way of saying it. I mean, it's true. Either that, or you have to go into it knowing that you have the responsibility to desensitize the bird and build this confidence up. So you can have multiple people in the household and have a lot of commotion, but then you need to also spend as much time as necessary making sure the bird understands that those things aren't threatening. They're not
Exactly.
going to instinctively know that they're not. So,
Or make a pact with yourself is when you're sitting down looking to get this bird that may potentially outlive you and halfway through your kid's life, that you promise that no matter what happens, that you
Mhm.
sitting down in our situation for hours you have to think about this
Yeah.
or any time before you even visit our store, that if there is that change, if there is,
Mhm.
and there's a certain level that we can't predict, but no matter what happens, that bird will stick with you.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're single and you get a bird and you get into a relationship and then do what people do and have a family,
Family.
then the bird's
Continue
still
your
with you.
continue your positive reinforcement training
You
the
got to
whole way through.
communicate that this bird is going to be sticking with you.
Yep, no
And
matter what.
so,
All right.
anyways,
Well,
body language.
guys, I really liked this episode. I hope this gave you guys, I think we covered some really, really meaningful and important things. So, if anybody ever has any questions or follow ups to the episodes,
Yeah.
do not hesitate to reach out. That you can send us an email. Just let us know what your thoughts and feelings are. If you want us to deep dive into something specific that we've highlighted here today or in any other episodes, this is meant to be like a group project here. We are happy to take in your feedback and focus on the things that actually are important to you as listeners. So,
Yeah.
make this a collaboration out there, people.
Yes.
We can definitely make it catered to what you want to hear.
Yeah. This was an exciting one. This is a big topic. I think a lot
Yeah.
of people, get into like a groove and then they kind of let some things go to the wayside. So
Yeah,
it's always
me.
important. I mean, yeah,
I mean, it's this.
we all do it.
I'm speaking for experience. Alrighty, awesome.
Anyways.
So, I like season 4. We're going. It's nice. We've done all of like the earlier episodes were kind of just those foundational things,
Yeah.
and now I feel like we can start to getting into the deeper stuff as we
Yeah.
go. So season 4 is
Pretty
rocking
deep
on.
stuff.
All right.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody.
Yep.
Just
Um,
download and
Please download the episodes. Even
Yes.
if you just listen to it, download it really quick because we just get bonus points from our podcast host for downloads. So
it helps us grow.
it helps our stats. And then obviously rating and reviewing it helps us big time too. And then sharing it with everybody you know. So if you're on a social media group and you like our podcast, don't hesitate to share the link, guys. Let's get the word out there.
Yeah.
Because this is just free education. We're not trying to sell Parrot Stars. We're just trying to encourage people to think about their parrots in a more holistic and safe way.
That's what it's all about.
All right, guys.
And
Thank you
just-
so much
yeah.
for listening.
Let us know if you
and
have any suggestions or questions. And I
We'll
guess,
see you next time.
as always, did you want to say it?
Sure. Be kind to your parrot and it will be kind to you.